EFF introduces Street Surveillance Hub, giving Americans a closer look at who's watching. Stay tuned as we dive into the privacy-centric details of this initiative, empowering individuals to be more aware of who's watching on today's episode of MSP Dispatch. EFF adds Street Surveillance Hub so Americans can see who's checking on them by Ian Thompson for the Register. The Electronic Frontier Foundation, EFF, has launched the Street Surveillance Hub, revealing the extensive surveillance landscape across the United States. The hub provides detailed insights into various surveillance systems, including body cams, biometrics, predictive policing software, and more. Citizens can stay informed via a news feed and contribute to the 2019 launched Atlas, checking local law enforcement methods, including collaborations with third parties like Ring. EFF policy analyst Matthew Gariglia, interviewed as part of the story we're covering, highlights concerns about the misuse of taxpayer-funded technology and the growing surveillance beyond police extending to personal devices. He urges attention to privacy legislation at city and state levels, emphasizing citizen contributions to the Atlas of Surveillance. Now, Tony, before we start talking about this, I just want to make sure you realize we are currently being surveilled.
Oh, well, it's funny that you're pointing there because I was noticing that from my cam, I can actually see that one of your shoes is untied. So I don't know if you can see that or not. Or
oh, no, I'm rerouting it. I hacked the Gibson. I rerouted the encryption. And you don't even know I'm wearing Velcro sneakers right now. So that joke's on you.
Somebody else's shoes. This is terrifying. Let's talk about this in big picture scenario. Yeah. 1984. The book, for any of you who have been alive long enough to recognize that there was once a year called 1984. You millennials, Gen Zers. This was a huge concern, and it was supposed to take place in 1984. And I think, quite a few years, almost 50 years have passed from that point. And we're now at the point where the technology is here. That technology was completely unfathomable before, not scalable. That is no longer the case. Not only is it scalable, it is common use to the point that we are listing it because we're saying, hey, there could be a problem here, and Americans should be aware of who's spying them and from where. The question becomes, when is it too much? Remember, this at one point was just fantasy. This is fiction. This is what if?
It's teleportation.
We're here. We're absolutely here. So, what are your thoughts on this, Matt? I have the old people out there, the old ones, predicted the future, or were we just fantasizing? Or were we just a little bit neurotic back then, which I still am, by the way? And are we actually at that point?
First, let this old man decompress his spine before answering that question. No, look, you said 1984, and I had a lot of different terms going through my head as I was researching the article earlier today. And I mean, the one that hit me the most is Big Brother. Think about this for a second, people. We literally have a television show on TV called Big Brother that's about surveilling a bunch of people in a house. The Brady Bunch is based on real life, too.
I thought you were going to say the band 1984. I'm like, oh my, great. Or the album, that great album.
Wait, 84 from who?
Oh my gosh, I was about to say Love Triangle, or Love Triangle, Depeche Mode, but it's a Love Triangle, like Blue Monday. Anyway, I now I can't remember it because
it's fine because it's a moot point. The only album that has any validity or should be cared about that has a number in it is the Talking Heads' 1977. Case closed. But with that said, let's get back into this topic because I'm sorry, I did take us off on a tangent. This is incredibly concerning.
Let's get back to the point at hand, which is
it's
terrifying. This is terrifying.
And let me get into why it's terrifying from my point of view. I think that I had a little federal run-in when I was in my early 20s. I was actually not found guilty of anything because I didn't do anything wrong, but the amount of paranoia that I had for a few years after being cleared of charges had an impact on me as a person. And I think that as I read an article like this, it gives me that same feeling of when I was like 22 or 23 and didn't really want to necessarily interact with people because there's so much going on. And the irony of this, as I'm talking to you, there were 1, 2, 3 cameras pointing at me. and I'm starting to get a little antsy.
I would love to know what everyone else's thoughts are on this. Is biometrics? That is absolutely surveillance in some capacity, even though that's a convenience factor of logging in. Large language models out there are now surveilling all of the videos that are being recorded, posted, and they're able to, through AI, recreate them. Surveillance is just the entry point, and the destination is something that I still don't quite comprehend. So I'd love to hear from others out there. So many stories about this stuff happening all the time.
Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in. We hope that you found this story to be one that was eye-opening. Maybe it caused you to ask some more questions. And the best way to get those questions answered? Watch MSP Dispatch every Tuesday and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern for more in-depth coverage of all the technology news that matters to you, your business, and the customers you take care of.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.